All right, this first exercise that we're doing, we're using the wall to protract our shoulders. You'll see here in a second, I'm trying to find that neutral ground with my pelvis, right? I'm tucking it, extending it, tucking it, and then you can kind of see here, I'm trying to restore that flexion of the thoracic spine, that mid-upper back. So we have our forearms on the wall. In terms of intensity, I'm pulling about 5 out of 10 on that band. And then I'm just inhaling for 5 seconds, exhaling through the mouth for 5 seconds. All right, I want you to be cognizant of the weight distribution here. I want 2/3 of the weight on your heels. I want no height whatsoever lost in your skeleton, okay? I'm just pushing into the wall with my forearms, protracting or kind of getting that flexion in the back. Big, long inhales and exhales, and I would do 8 breath cycles. So a breath cycle is an inhale and an exhale. 2/3 of the weight in the heels. Do not forget that point. So one of the things I commonly see, and we saw this in class on Monday, is the inability, right, to rotate through our mid back, thoracic spine. One of the most common reasons why is because a lot of us are stuck in extension, right? We have a pushed forward rib cage, right? Our rib cage is flared out. So we're actually just trying to do the exact opposite with this. And you can even practice this at home. So if you want, try and poke your rib cage back or out, like the old saying of stand tall with your shoulders back. Well, if you stand tall with your shoulders back, your rib cage flares out. And what happens is you cannot restore the ability to, you lose that ability to rotate. You can just try this at home. So flare the ribs out, pull your shoulders back, try and rotate. Now go the other way. Protract your shoulders, kind of get into a similar position with your arms forward. Now rotate. Do you see how much easier that is? This is that flexion that's natural in our curvature of our spine, which is what we're trying to restore with this exercise. All right, so this is our second exercise that we're going to do to restore that neutrality in our posture, that stack position. So you can see me here, I'm grabbing some props. I'm grabbing a ball and just like a yoga mat. And if you have a block, a book, a platform, something that's like, around 3 inches, that would be great for this exercise. So all we're going to do here is we're going to lie supine, so on our back, chest to the ceiling. We're going to take that ball right there and we're going to position it in between our legs. Feet are flat on the platform, the book, the weights, whatever you have. I'm squeezing the ball just like 3 or 4 out of 10 in terms of intensity. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to try and start by actively recruiting the hamstring. So I'm trying to pull my heels back to the midline. While I'm doing this, guys, I'm going to tuck my pelvis, almost like rolling it. I'm rolling it up to the ceiling, okay? It's slightly off the ground, and all we're doing here is keeping that tension in the hamstring, raising the arms up to about like 110-degree angle from the floor, and then we're doing the same amount of breath cycles we did in the last exercise, 5 to 8 breath cycles. Exhaling through the mouth, inhaling through the nose, okay? 5 seconds each way just about. And you're just trying to fill yourself up with air, right? You're not losing contact with the ground. Your rib cage is not flaring out. Remember, the hamstring tension is key here because what that's going to help with is the recruitment there of the obliques. So when you exhale, I don't want you necessarily to just feel your six-pack kicking on. I want you to feel your side abs. So to do that, you really need to get all the air out. So spend time exhaling. Trust me, you have more air to get out of your body. Exhale for 5 full seconds through the mouth, gently, then inhale for 5 full seconds. That would be the second exercise in the series to restore that good posture position. All right, the next and last exercise in this series of exercises to restore that neutral position of the spine and pelvis is the alternating cross connect from a supine position. So I've really slowed down this video. There are a lot of moving pieces with this. This is one I want you guys really to practice quite a bit. So what you're going to need is just yourself, something like a foam roller, a book, something for you to dig your heel into. And what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm pushing my right foot into the wall and then down into the foam roller, and I'm driving my left knee up into flexion, okay? With the opposite hand, with this right hand, I'm lifting it up almost like I'm talking to my hand. And that what I'm going to do is through breath, I'm going to try and connect. I don't want you to force it, but I want you to try and close the gap between the right elbow and the left knee. So upon the exhale, when you sigh out with your mouth, I want you, and there it is right there, to try and twist deeper and make that connection to your knee, okay? And then upon breath, that new cycle of breath. So you're going to inhale, exhale, and twist a little further. Keep that position, breathe in, and then exhale, try and twist a little more, all while keeping that head completely on the ground. All right, this one takes a lot of practice. This is great, okay? Great to restore that pelvic position. I'm getting good leg extension on one side of my body. I'm getting good knee flexion or hip flexion, on the other side of my body. We need both in, basic movement patterns, right? And then once again, using the breath to facilitate a rotation. And we've just hammered this home so far in this video series, right? So same prescription here. I would do 5 to 8 breath cycles on each side. So, right, remember, we're trying to exhale fully through the mouth, inhale through the nose, trying to feel those side abs kick on. All right, here's another one that we're doing to help loosen up the rib cage. What we're doing here is a low to high row. So I'm just using a band in this example. Notice here I'm squaring up the hips. I'm squaring up my right leg into my left leg. It's like an 80-20 weight shift. 80% of that weight is on my front leg. And then as I exhale, I'm rolling in. Inhale, I'm letting the band come back. Exhaling, rolling rolling in. Inhaling, out. Exhale there. Inhale back. And with that opposite hand, the non-working hand, I'm just moving in inverse. That's where I'm getting in some rotation. I want a lot of this rotation to be through the chest and not through the low back. Going to display a couple exercises for rotational power here, guys. So this one, you just need a band. Actually, the cable works even better. But if you only have a band like I do, we're just going to go with it, okay? So what you're seeing me do here is I'm long in the right arm, all right, feet shoulder width apart, and I'm going to pull or rip through with that trail arm. Hips go, arm goes. Notice the left side. Notice the pronation of the foot there, and internal rotation of the hip. Inverse on my right side. Supination of the foot, external rotation of that right hip there. All right, guys, so this one we went over. I'm just going to kind of show you here the setup, right? We have the double loop band, a thinner band, loop to the rack, and then a thicker band, looped around that thin band. You're just gonna kind of get it around the shoulder, twist, and then get it around the waist. And we're gonna show 2 setups here. The first one is gonna be a rotation into the hip there, right? I'm loading up, rotating into that left hip. My foot is staying planted on the ground. Once again, there's that 80-20 weight shift, okay? To start off, guys, I would just kind of move through the range of motion, and then once you find the sequence and the rhythm, I want you to build some speed, right? And like we talked about earlier, I want you to stabilize and hold there at that end range for a second or two before completing. All right, once again, same setup. We have the thin band looped to the thicker band. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna rotate away from the hip. So notice my stance. I got my right foot forward here, left foot forward, left foot is back. Okay, and I'm rotating away, right, away from the hip. Okay, same sort of mechanics. All right, I'm getting a twist, rotating through, but now what's firing is the inner part of that right leg, right? My adductors, calves lighting up, right? The internal rotators are lighting up here as I rotate to the inside of my body, okay? Nothing else changes. 80-20 weight shift, that good full rotation. I'm just working a different part of that stance leg.